More finger pointing in Florissant tonight as both police and protesters say the other escalated this clash last night. It led to nearly 20 arrests. News 4's Lauren Traeger is live outside the police department explaining what led to tensions boiling over. Lauren?
Well, guys, there have been protests here at the Florissant Police Department every week for the last month. I want to take a step out of the way so you can kind of see the scene that's laid out here. There is actually a designated protest area that was just been set up by the Florissant Police Chief. And if you look on the ground, there's actually a big Black Lives Matter sign that's here that has not been messed with. The police chief says they do want to give protesters space to protest, but when they cross the line, he says they have to act. So today, protesters provided one video to us to prove their points, while police provided another. So take a look.
Look! Look at them!
This social media video, protesters say, shows the attack on them by Florissant Police Sunday night, with one officer seen shoving people.
You continue to come out here and escalate rather than staying inside and de-escalate.
Reverend DARRYL Gray says he and other protesters were hit with batons and pepper sprayed. He says protesters were only there to demand changes after a now fired Florissant officer hit a man with his police SUV June 2nd.
At no time were the police assaulted by water bottles or anything else at the time that they initiated the contact.
He says Sunday night police seemed angered that protesters were writing on plywood, now painted over.
This is the damage that caused them to come out and viciously attack non-violent protesters.
What we're unfortunately seeing is that they continue to try to escalate and they continue to want to have a confrontation with us.
But Florissant Chief Tim FAGAN says protesters gave them no choice. They provided this video which shows protesters coming up to the department's front door. One is seen writing on the sign while others remove plywood off the building's windows.
It's only when they advanced on the building, started to pull plywood off of my windows, that I felt like we were going to put ourselves in jeopardy, and we didn't have a choice but to come out and have a conversation and try to get them to remove themselves from the parking lot. Clear and concise warnings. They chose to lock arms, they chose to be defiant, and they chose not to leave. And unfortunately, it put us in a position where we had to have that confrontation.
Even Gray acknowledges that they purposely ignored orders to disperse. So Chief FAGAN said police had to try to break up the crowd.
As in every circumstance, confrontations begin to occur. Civil disobedience and police confrontation is not pretty. It doesn't look good to the public. It certainly is not something that we at the police department ever want to see. And we have consistently shown since the 7th of June that we do everything within our power to not have any contact with these protesters. We want to allow them to voice themselves. We want to allow their First Amendment rights to be heard. We want to give them every opportunity to say whatever it is that they want to say. There's just certain things that we cannot allow.
And Chief FAGAN says in the past they have been hit with objects like frozen water bottles. Now you're taking a look at a tent that was just set up just within the last few seconds, really. Obviously some protesters are getting ready to gather here again this evening. They say they will be back here every single night until they see changes at this police department. For example, they want to see the other two officers who were involved in that June 2nd incident disciplined, but Chief FAGAN says he has reviewed that entire incident and does not find that they violated any of their policies. Again, another night here could bring another night of protests, and we will certainly keep following them. Reporting live in Florissant, Lauren Traeger, News 4.